New data released by Anti-Defamation League reveals anti-Semitism has spiked across the U.S. and South Texas since the October 7th Hamas attacks on Israel. Joining us live to explain more is Mark Toubin, Southwest Regional Director with Anti-Defamation League. Good morning, Mark. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So as we just mentioned, the ADL conducted an audit on anti-Semitic acts. After the Hamas attacks, how many incidents were reported nationwide?
Well, first of all, it's important to understand that we have been performing this audit since 1979. And the numbers that we have seen for the entirety of 2023 are mind-blowing and extraordinarily alarming. We had 8,873 total incidents for 2023. Even if you were to subtract the number that occurred after October 7th, we still would have had a record number, and that's very disturbing. With regard to the incidents that occurred post-October 7th, it is beyond disturbing. We had over 5,000 incidents in a little less than a 3-month period. That is more than the previous 2 years, the entirety of those 2 years combined that we had post-October 7th.
Wow. What's fueling these attacks, these incidents?
Well, in general, we've been seeing an uptick in anti-Semitic incidents since approximately 2016. And 4 out of the past 5 years have unfortunately set records for the highest numbers. Post-October 7th, we are seeing what really is a conflation of criticism of Israel with attacks on Jewish people, as well as efforts to reject Israel's right of self-determination, and even worse, calling for Israel's annihilation. And these started even before Israel had an opportunity to collect all those murdered on October 7th, even before Israel initiated any form of counterattack against Hamas. We were already seeing these vicious and anti-Semitic attacks coming out of not only the region, but from all over the world, including the United States.
Yeah. Mark, I want to go back to these audits. You stated that they've been happening since, was it 1979?
That's right.
1979. These are annual audits?
Yes.
And how are these acts, these anti-Semitic acts, categorized within the audits?
So we have 3 different categories. We have vandalism, harassment, and assault. The strong majority of the incidents fall into the harassment category. Beyond that is vandalism, and lastly are assaults. Fortunately, we did not see any assaults in 2023 in the region that I cover, which includes just about half of Texas from El Paso to Beaumont and all points south. But we did nationally see over 100 assaults, and that's really troubling because that's a much higher number.
Yeah, let's talk a little more about the findings here in South Texas. I understand there were some major discoveries within this audit. What are they here locally?
We experienced a 45% increase. Last year in 2022, we saw a total of 73 anti-Semitic incidents, and in 2023, we had 106. And that, while it fortunately does not match the national percentage of increase, it still is very concerning. Because what we're seeing here isn't just a concern about the normalization of anti-Semitism. We are seeing the normalization of anti-Semitism. That means that people, whether it's kids in elementary school whether it's people at work, whether it's people on the street, whether it is people on campus, are feeling comfortable expressing themselves in a way that conveys anti-Semitic views. And we are, at this point, sounding the alarm bells. Because when you start to see anti-Semitism join the mainstream, that is a harbinger for bad things to occur, not just to Jews, but to all people, as well as our democratic institutions.
Yeah, I know, I reflect on the conversations that you and I have had throughout the past year. We've hosted probably one too many. It's always a pleasure talking with you, but unfortunately it's always around these types of events and these incidents. Since we last spoke, where's your mind at today compared to then? Are you hopeful that we can turn things around? And what is your message to anyone listening who needs a little clarity, who needs direction, who wants to have a conversation to better understand differences or whatever it be? Where's your head at today?
Yeah, well, and thank you for asking that question, because it's important. So, we aren't putting these numbers out just to scare people, particularly those in the Jewish community. We encourage everyone to be strong in their identity and to be proud in their identity, just as we do people of all ethnicities, backgrounds, races, and so that's key. That's I think really an important aspect of it. But we're sounding this alarm because we know that, and I think we've talked about this before, you and I, that there are many more people in this country and around the world who don't have inclinations towards anti-Semitism and hate. And many times it's a matter of education. But first, it's a matter of awareness. And so, I think the hope is that when people become aware of just how significant and serious a problem this is right now, that they will take action, whether those are governors of all 50 states who we are asking to create a statewide plan to address anti-Semitism in the respective states, whether it's campus presidents, whether it is people who are leading businesses and corporations, people who are leading our schools, our elected officials, our candidates, to recognize that they cannot stand idly by, that it's not just a matter of waiting it out, that there needs to be action, whether that's incorporating anti-Semitism into business diversity programs, whether it is creating a task force on colleges and universities which incorporate the input of all stakeholders so that they can come up with solutions that benefit the entire campus. That's why we're putting this out. And ultimately, I do have hope that once people receive this message, once people become aware, that they will take the right action in order to detour from the course that we're on right now.
Yeah, and at the center of education and awareness is conversation, and we so much appreciate you this morning for having this conversation with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Mark. We'll talk to you soon.